Remember this? Metallica rules! Oh, yeah!
Alrighty, so let's do some polls. Colorado's ranking too high, too low, or just right. 74% of you said just right. You know what? I gotta agree. This was before the new rankings came out. This was back when they were at 22. 22 is a good feel. Like I overreacted to it, and I was like, yeah, put them at 17, put them at 18. But like to go from unranked and jump into the top 20. It is a stretch if you kind of look at it, but considering what Colorado's doing right now, I mean, to put them at 22, it's pretty safe. Like, you know what? They are a top 25 team, so right there, it's just right. Duke's ranking, too high, too low, or just right? Well, same thing. But instead of beating TCU team that's coming off the national championship but missing a lot of key pieces, they beat Clemson, who was an ACC champ, 9th ranked in the country, and absolutely just steamrolled them. So I think they should have been ranked maybe just a little bit higher than Colorado, but it was a good ranking. I was looking at the wrong thing. I wasn't looking at the AP polls. I was looking at a different poll that had them at 2, but really they were number 4. And a lot of people, 83%, this got ratioed that they were ranked way too high. I will say this. They are a top 5 team. They went from, I think, 8 to 4, which is good because the truth is, they are a top 5 team. I mean, they did put on a show against the LSU Tigers, but still, we got to see how they're going to do and fare up against their next 3-4 games, and then especially that big game in Clemson. We can say, yeah, okay, Florida State's arrived, because after Clemson, their schedule looks pretty favorable. Because on Thursday Night Football, Travis Kelce was out because he tweaked his knee, and then pending while I posted this, Joe Burrow was still technically out. Like, they hadn't given a report if he was going to play on Sunday, which he ended up playing on Sunday, and Sunday was awful. But I said, which injury is more impactful to the team? Burrow and the Bengals or Kelce and the Chiefs? And honestly, Burrow won this poll, but both. If you looked at how confused Patrick Mahomes looked out there without Travis Kelce, wow. It either shows A, Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends next to Gronk and Tony Gonzalez, or B, Patrick Mahomes is really overrated and needs to rely heavily on Kelce. You could argue for both, but I think right now Mahomes is in that lukewarm, perfectly rated. Now it's when they throw him up against Tom Brady, that's where it gets a little bit overrated. Yep, before the football season starts. Dude, maybe, hey, it could be their year, man. 40-0. It could be their year. 71% said the Lions, which, I mean, got to give it to you guys. You said it right. And then I was just continuing on the college momentum. Which win was the best of last weekend? Everybody voted for the Seminoles. And then after the loss, Chiefs fans, how are we feeling? I'm feeling fine. I'm fine. Versus mad and panicked, which looking at that, I think I spelled panicked wrong. But 55% said mad, which I'd be mad too. If I was a Chiefs fan, but I'm not a Chiefs fan. For Saturday night's showdown between Alabama and Texas, I asked, who you got winning? Texas, 60% versus Alabama's 40%. What was crazy is I forgot how close that Texas versus Alabama game was last year. And I forgot that Quinn Ewers went out, early in that game. And so if Quinn Ewers stayed in that game, maybe Texas would have won it at home. Now, we'll never know because he got injured. But once they were doing the pregame, I will say I picked Alabama. That was my safe pick, just because it's Tuscaloosa. Nick Saban doesn't usually lose at home in September. It's the later games that he loses, later in the season. And it has to be a pretty darn good quarterback. It's got to be Joe Burrow. It's got to be Johnny Manziel. It's got to be someone like a legendary quarterback to come into Tuscaloosa and beat him, especially in the fashion that Texas did. And so when they're doing the pregame stuff and just talking about the story of Quinn Ewers, my gut, right as they kicked off the ball, was Texas is going to win this game. Because my brain was just we still have a lot of question marks around Milroe, which I still think Milroe is Alabama's quarterback. The way of revenge game, because I'm always, a sucker for good revenge games where Quinn Ewers got injured early and now he has the chance to go to Tuscaloosa and beat them in Tuscaloosa and take revenge. Like, it just felt right. And I was like, man, Texas is probably going to win this. Then it was a dogfight the whole game. Now, the fashion in which they did, really surprising. But then I was also like, this is still Texas, though. They're not going to beat them. Like, they'll keep it a ball game, and they'll have it going into the fourth quarter. But Alabama will find a way, and the ball will bounce their way. And they'll, get a field goal off and win it 24-21 or something like that. Because Texas, they'll always find a way to lose. But it didn't. Ball did not go Alabama's way. There were some costly turnovers late in the ball game. Great clock management by Texas, and they ended up winning the ball game. That's the wonderful parody of college football is, anybody can get it anytime, and that's the vibe around it. And just this time, Texas got it, which I think was pretty awesome. So, anyways, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.
So what are you waiting for? Hop in.
Hop in what?
Look at me, I'm Otto. I'm 100 years old and I drive a school bus.